Hey, Lilo, you got anything to say?
Hey.
This is your official debut
Yes.
on The Squeeze.
Everyone,
Lily finally made her way to the couch.
Lily Lautner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Squeeze. I am your host, Taylor Lautner.
And hey, look at that. I am also your host, Taylor Lautner. Thank you for joining us.
Do you think that'll ever get old?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of already over it.
Oh, better redo this then, or?
No, we just got to come up with like fun nicknames or something.
Okay.
Well, who do we have on the pod today, Girl Tay?
Well, we have I guess we kind of determined it was my top two guess, because I always say top three, but I never had a third.
Yeah.
But we have the one and only Emmanuel Acho.
I've said this before, but if I were Chris Harrison right now, I would say this episode is going to be the most dramatic episode of The Squeeze ever.
Oh my God. It's actually funny because the episode itself isn't that long.
Yeah.
But after listening to it we stopped recording and I was like, oh, wow, it actually hasn't even been that long.
Because it was stuffed with goodness.
Yeah.
Like it was rich.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, everything that Acho says is just, he's thought of every word that comes out of his mouth, twice through before he says it. And it's just.
But we did have a couple questions for him that he opened up and was very vulnerable and talked about a few things that he has never talked about before. And we were so thankful for that. And I can't express enough. If you listen to the rest of this episode, you will understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We have had some terrific conversations, but this one, I gotta say, was just a dream conversation to have.
Yeah.
We both respect this man so much, and he went above and beyond with not only his advice and sharing his wisdom, but his vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for everyone to listen to this. You are in for a ride.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Emmanuel Acho.
I cannot wait.
Thank you so much for being here. We are genuinely so pumped that you are here. I mean, Tay can dive a little bit more into it, but legit, when she told me the idea of wanting to do this podcast, I was like, what kind of guests do you want? And she was like, well, it'll be great to have, some well-known people and like people we're fans of from movies and, TV shows and stuff. But really, I want to get to the level where we can get people like Emmanuel Acho. And I was like, okay, good luck. We'll see.
I did say that. And he also did respond with that response.
Yeah, I'll admit it.
Yeah. But I mean, in all seriousness, we just respect the crap out of you. And you are just such a cool dude doing such cool things. And you were on my top 3 bucket list people to have on. So
dare I ask who the other 2 are?
Right?
Do you want to know?
I have to know at this point.
My other one was Dr. Nicole LaPena, the holistic psychologist.
Got you.
She's written the book, How to Do the Work. Who is my other one that I said?
I don't know if you ever, you didn't tell me. You just told me that.
Okay,
then
then maybe
I'm 1
top
and 2.
2. Yeah,
I'm 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Too.
Yeah.
Pat self on back.
Let's not undermine him.
That's great. Well, so we start each episode with a little segment we called Cit-Rus Got Real.
Okay.
This beautiful lemon jar. There's a bunch of little papers in there with some serious, deep-rooted,
very intense questions.
If you wouldn't mind pulling one out of there.
Okay, we're pulling paper out of lemon jar. There are roughly, I don't know, maybe 80 pieces of
ASMR
paper
general.
in there. Do I just have one? Yes, just one.
Yeah.
Okay.
very scary questions on these things.
What job could you never imagine doing?
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
What job could I never imagine doing? You know what? I don't think I could be a gynecologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could be an OB. With all due respect, like credit to OBs, credit to, gynecologists, but
Yeah.
that's just not my portion.
Yeah.
It's not my calling in life.
I get that.
This is ironic because I have a gynecologist appointment tomorrow.
You do.
Go get your paps, ladies.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
not by me.
That's your. It's just not by Emmanuel Acho.
By me.
Mine would be anything involving. Why are you laughing? Anything involving like blood or bones or needles or anything in that realm, which is funny because that is all my wife does. She is a nurse. She loves poking people with needles and all the nasty anatomy things.
Yeah,
but
I do enjoy that.
I don't do well with any of those things. So
I get that.
I guess being a nurse,
That's why you married one, so you didn't have to do it.
Yep.
Mine would probably be, I don't know why, but something that's like really claustrophobic, like working in like a submarine or like underwater.
Yeah.
You've thought about this before. You've definitely thought about this before. Yeah.
It's kind of a new thing for her though. She all of a sudden in the last like 2 years max has gotten really claustrophobic, like in airplanes, or when we were in New York last, we went on the underwater like tunnel and she freaked.
It happened to me once. I've never had a spurt of claustrophobia except one time. I was sitting on the window seat in an airplane. And craziest thing is, you're not actually trapped.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was like, I can't move. I can't move. And I don't like bothering people, so I don't like getting up.
Yeah.
And, hey, can I go to the bathroom? No, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
If I'm flying across the country and I'm in the window, I'm not getting up. I will suffer for the greater good of the person in the aisle. But I literally was like, what is going on? And I had to get up and just pace the aisle for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a new. I never sit in the window because Taylor's always the window seat because he's
what? I enjoy a window
for
seat.
transparency because he's famous and people can't come up to him if he's not in the aisle seat. So
that's the way to do it.
That helps, but
so I'm always now in the aisle seat. But I recently traveled without him and sat by the window, and I was like, nope, can't do it. Nope, I have to sit on the aisle now, which is
there we go. Makes
so
a great
weird.
team.
Yep. It's a firm high five.
That was an incredible high five for anyone listening.
Oh boy. Okay, you take it away from here.
What?
It's your turn. You wanted to start it.
I did?
Yep.
Oh, crap. You're right. I did want to start this.
This is what happens when you have friends over also sitting in the background of these cameras that are smiling laughing. If I had someone here, I would pan the camera over to them, but I don't.
Okay. No, I did want to start this, so thank you for reminding me, babe. I have a very, very important question.
Okay.
That I want to open this up with because I'm jealous of you. Truth be told, you have already accomplished something on my bucket list.
Uh-oh.
And that is, I am a massive Bachelor fan. And you hosted after the final rose on the Bachelor franchise.
That happened.
How was that? Can you give me just anything? Because it's probably the coolest thing that you have done.
This is the squeeze, correct? It's the squeeze?
Yeah.
So let me give a little exclusive information just to the squeeze. So I get called in January of 2021. Hey, Emmanuel, our host, Chris Harrison, he's, going to be temporarily suspended, looking to potentially have you host The Bachelor. I said, okay, well, who else are you looking at? It was a high level exec, won't say the name, but he says, potentially looking at you to host it. I said, who else are you looking at? He says, Tyra Banks. He says, Michael Strahan. And it was me, Tyra, Michael Strahan. The question is why Tyra, why Michael? Bachelor's on ABC. They wanted to keep it in the family.
Got it.
Obviously, Strahan's GMA, Tyra, I believe, Dancing with the Stars. So they wanted to keep it in the family. Now, at this point in time, I was well versed in the race space, and The Bachelor had their first black bachelor. And for those listening or watching without context, the first black bachelor in the 25 seasons, and the woman who many had assumed he chose. We did not know yet because the episodes were airing and all the things. The woman we assumed he had chose had some racially insensitive photos surface. So they call me, hey, Acho, you, Strahan, Tyra Banks. What do you have to say for yourself? I say, look, at this point, you can go with whoever you want to go with, but I am confident of my ability in this space.
Yeah.
Right. It might not be the name of Strahan, the name of Tyra, based upon the history and their legacies, both within sports, within modeling, etc.
Sure.
But for this job, I'm confident I can do it. This is what people don't realize. It was a 6-hour shoot that we cut to 44 minutes. Usually it is done live. But because of the sensitivity around the topic, they didn't want to do it live. We were also in the midst of a pandemic. Usually it has a live audience.
Yeah.
No live audience. It's just me, Matt James, and the 3 women, Rachel Kirkconnell, Michelle Young, I believe, and Bree. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done on camera because of all the freaking nuances. I don't know how real I want to be with the squeeze just yet. I'm just getting acclimated. But
first question.
Man, it was wild. It was, you walk on stage during the music. Now you're at the teleprompter 1, then middle of the sentence cut to teleprompter 2, then reverse pivot. One of the girls will walk out. If she gives you a hug her back. If she doesn't give you a hug, just let her take a seat. As you're sitting down, have this conversation. But about a minute, 30 seconds into the conversation, we need you to throw to a piece. Coming off the piece, if she's crying, just lay out, let her cry.
Yeah.
If she is not crying, ask her a question, but don't use too many words. Say something like, so what's going through your mind right now?
Yeah.
And just lay out and just let it be. Keep in mind, we have to transition from her to the next person. So feel it out when you're ready to transition. It was so complex. I made sure to get editing power as well, because I wanted to make sure that the viewer was going to see exactly what I said. Amazing. And there was one pivotal edit, and for the sake of the squeeze, for the sake of my friends, I'll share this piece, and then I don't know if you cared for all this information. During the course of the conversation, during the course of the conversation, I'm hosting The Bachelor. I'm sitting there talking to Rachel. See, I didn't realize that my light-skinned friends break out in hives when y'all get nervous, some of y'all. See, that's not something that, us dark-skinned people do. So I didn't realize that was a thing. So I don't really I'm talking to Rachel. She's in this elegant red dress, and Rachel and I are super close at this junction in time. Now, not back then. And all of a sudden, her skin's, breaking out in hives or whatever. I ask Rachel, I say, well, Rachel, it's time for me to bring out Matt. Are you ready to see him? With tears in her eyes, she goes, no. I say, sorry, I have to bring him out anyway, acknowledging her emotions. That's not what the edit looked like. The edit looked like, well, Rachel, it's time for me to bring out Matt. Are you ready to see him? No. Matt? I said, nope. That's not what happened. Because I acknowledged her emotions in reality. Yeah. So we can't take out me acknowledging her emotions, because somebody, Taylor's going to be sitting at home and being like, oh, she was crying and he didn't even bother to care. Yeah. So that was The Bachelor. It was a crazy time in my life. Check the box. Yeah. I did it. Maybe you're up next.
Maybe. I mean, after hearing that, I know. Honestly, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be up next.
That sounds worse than
sounds like
SNL.
My nightmare. Yeah, but very cool, very very cool. Thank you for the insight and the scoop. I feel like
He's like, dang it, now I don't want to do it. Dreams are crushed.
It's okay.
Okay, so one of Taylor and I's favorite brands that just makes some of the softest clothing items absolutely ever. Not only soft, but cute. I'm actually wearing the sweater right now.
I mean, I was a fan of the brand before I even knew they made clothing items.
Yeah, this is true.
They make the best house decor, but the fact that they make clothing, I was like, sign me up.
Yeah, they have some of the softest clothes. They're very minimalistic, just aesthetically. The website, if you haven't seen it, it's It's so pleasing. It's,
just like their store when you walk into it.
Yeah, just like the store. Jenni Kayne believes in one thing, and it's the art of simplicity, which I love because literally just a simple sweater like this, they design it in such a way that it's cute. You can wear it like me in leggings and socks or out for a night on the town. Really just clothing for all occasions.
Yeah. We love simple, comfortable, and chic.
Yeah. Simple, stylish, cozy, and chic. Jenni Kayne is the modern minimalistic style that makes you feel as good as you look. To find your forever pieces at jennikayne.com, our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code THESQUEEZE at checkout. That's 15% off your first order. Go to JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code THESQUEEZE. The brand go-to for all season staples. Treat yourself because you deserve it.
Whew.
Now on a more serious topic, I want to get into, I've heard the story, but I would love for our listeners to hear it, kind of what led you to starting your series, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, because I love this story and I think it's so cool. And I would love for our listeners to hear it.
Man, I will say first and foremost, when there is a calling on your life, pick it up. That's all. Preface everything with, if there is a calling, a passion, a fire in your heart, something that you can't shake, pick it up. Uncomfortable Conversations with the Black Man. For those that don't know, it's been viewed by 95 million people now. By the grace of God, we won an Emmy Award for it, #1 best-selling book for it, because it was a calling that I picked up. So what is this it that we're speaking of? Because I have to assume everybody watching and listening has no idea what I'm talking about. So that is what it is. In the wake of the murder of George Floyd, everybody in America was trying to figure out, what in the world are we going to do? So many people were being very introspective. Well, where have I gone wrong? Where's my lineage gone wrong? Others were outraged. I'm sitting in my house in Austin, Texas, and I am furious because I just watched another Black man be murdered. And it wasn't exclusively the murder that elicited the outrage. It was the thought that if not for these cameras, this officer may have gotten away with it. That's a nuance, Tay, that so many people are missing. It wasn't just the murder. It was a realization that they may get away with it. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I go to my dear white friend's house, and it's two of them, and two of my other friends are next door neighbors. So I walk into their house for dinner. It's 4 of them in total. I walk into the house, and I am righteously angry. And so we're sitting there, and I call them my dear white friends because I've known them forever. I went to college, and I met them my freshman year. We go back. The reason I include their race is because it is urgently important to this conversation. So we're sitting around this table. It is me, my best friend, and these other, and my four friends that are white. And I say, why is it that we keep seeing the murder or pain inflicted of Black people without any sort of backlash? And they ask me a question in return. They say, well, Emmanuel, what can we do to solve the problem? And I say there has to be more exposure from white people to Black people. They look at me and they say, well, how? Now, I grew up going to church with these people when I went to college in Austin. And I said, well, y'all could go to Black church. And Tay, they said this was their response. And this is when I knew something had to change. I said, well, y'all could go to Black church. They said, we thought Black church was your thing. The reason I'm bringing up church is not to be overly spiritual, but if y'all track with me while I'm listening, I was like, wait a second. You all who are incredibly close to me don't realize the jurisdiction or lack thereof of Black spaces.
Yeah.
So then I said, they were like, well, clearly, we're friends with Black people and all the things. I paused them down. And I said, how many Black people were at your wedding? That's what I asked them. I asked them that question because I'm like, that's when you can really tell who you close with.
Yeah.
When you see who made the cut for your guest list, that's when you can tell who you're really friends with. Mind you, I walked the mother of the bride down the aisle just to bring to context the listener how close I was with the people I'm speaking with. I said, how many Black people were at your wedding? They said 3. Myself, my brother, and another person who's a singer out in Austin. That's all you need to know. I said, so you all who genuinely don't have a racially insensitive, racist bone in your body, don't even have that much. You got a wedding of 200, 300 people, only 3 Black people were there. You do the math.
Yeah.
Great. Cut 2. So why didn't Uncomfortable Conversation start? I led there and I said, wait a second, Taylor, we have to have dialogue between our white brothers and sisters and our black brothers and sisters. I'm on a bike ride. I'm cruising in Austin, Texas. I'm on a bike ride. I called my friend. I said, hey, I got to do something. Like, we have to do something. She was a dear white friend of mine. I said, I'm thinking about having this show called Questions White People Have. Terrible title. Terrible title. I apologize to the Squeeze listeners. It was a terrible title, but white people had questions. So I was like, questions white people have. She responds and she says, what do you think about calling it Uncomfortable Conversations? I was like, nah, it has no stick. Like, it is an uncomfortable conversation. There's no punch. There's no like, I got to listen to this. I put my bike in my garage. I walk into my house in Austin, Texas. I walk right past the bathroom towards the kitchen. I pause. I turn back around and walk back towards the bathroom. I look to the left. Look in the mirror. You're a black man. Uncomfortable Conversations with a black man. The first episode was supposed to be with a dear white friend of mine. She had a change of heart at the last second. We were supposed to record an hour, 4 minutes before call time. This is a true story. An hour, 4 minutes before call time, she was like, I can't do this. They don't want to see me. It's not right. I can't do this. Tears in her eyes. I realized, hey, I don't have the luxury to not do this. A calling on your life, you got to pick it up. So I go into the studio. As I'm walking into the studio, I get a text from a black friend of mine. Again, the race is important. I get a text from a black friend of mine. She says, Emmanuel, I don't like this idea you're doing, Questions White People Have. I hadn't told her I changed the title. I don't like this idea you're doing, Questions White People Have. Nobody educated black people onto how to assimilate into American culture. Why do we need to educate white people on how to assimilate into our culture? All I texted her back was, I'm going to go the way God leads. Go into the studio. Again, true story. Go into the studio. I say 3, 2, and at 1, I look up to the camera. I go for 9 minutes, 18 seconds. We don't cut the camera. We don't edit it. It was really a God divine moment. For 9 minutes, 18 seconds, I speak. I put it out on social media. Within 5 days, had 25 million views. I get a call 5 days later from a no caller ID number. I pick it up. Acho, McConaughey speaking. I want to have a conversation. I was like, okay. McConaughey wants to have a conversation. We'll have a conversation. I say, yeah, let's do it in 3 days. I was not going to do another episode. I didn't want to do another episode because I didn't want to be a one-hit wonder, right? I wasn't trying to be like Soulja Boy, you know what I mean? Like, I cranked that Soulja Boy, but after that, How Kiss Me Through the Phone was a great song. So I didn't want to be a one-hit wonder, so I wasn't going to do another episode. But McConaughey calls me and he says, let's do another episode. I say, cool, we'll do it in 4 days. He says, let's do it tomorrow. Huh? Okay, cool. We can do it tomorrow. I call the studio. I say, hey, I need to do another episode tomorrow. They say, sure, Emmanuel, one problem. What is the problem? The studio is currently painted all blue. It takes 24 hours to paint, 24 hours to dry. For anyone that's ever seen Uncomfortable Conversations, I do it in an all-white room, all-white backdrop. Taylor, I was in a dilemma. 24 hours to paint, 24 hours to dry. Studio's painted sky blue. She says, I have an idea. That's the owner of the studio. She says, I'm going to go find a sheet of paper. We find a white sheet of paper. We roll it down. We cheat the camera. I don't tell McConaughey. He's just going to have to show up and find out. He thought it was a high quality production. I had my best friend, Olympic gold medalist. She stood in as my producer. A wedding videographer stood in as my video person. And I edited and shot the whole thing.
Wow.
McConaughey and I, we do episode 2. After we release that episode, 5 days later, get another call, no caller ID number. I'll end the story after this. I get another call, no caller ID number. I pick it up. Hi, Emmanuel. Oprah Winfrey speaking. I say, Oprah? Like, Oprah? My voice starts getting high.
Have you talked to her before at this point? This is the first time?
First time.
Wow.
No call ID number. Oprah Winfrey speaking. Just wanted to know you have time to FaceTime later. I said, do I have time to FaceTime? Oprah, do you? And so I get on a call with Oprah, and the first question she asked me, and I asked you all this question, if you all recall, when I walked into your house, and she taught me to ask anyone this question before you have a conversation. She asked me this. She says, Emmanuel, what is your intention? I said, Oprah, my intention is to change the world, and I truly believe I can. I'm currently working on writing a book. She said, books? I love books. And we partnered together to write Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Boy. And that is the long story of how Uncomfortable Conversations began.
It's just a cool story.
It's a great story.
I was going to say you should write a book about it. Or
Books?
I
love books.
They should make a movie about it. about this whole experience. I just can't imagine answering a random number and it literally being Oprah. Honestly, being anyone like that. But you're like, Like, what is going through your mind? Are you like, wait, what is happening right now?
It was a fascinating time in my life because prior to Uncomfortable Conversations, the first one, I played in the National Football League. So sure, I'd been used to some level of fame, but I had 37,000 followers on Instagram for context before episode 1. After episode 1, within like a day, 300,000. And then everything changed quickly because now everybody and their mama is reaching out to me for different reasons.
Yeah.
Anybody from Reese Witherspoon to Jennifer Aniston to McConaughey to who are just reaching out for different reasons. And mind you, and I'm sure you all can attest to this, Hollywood famous is different than like pro athlete famous. It's just different levels of famous. And so what was going through my mind was just a whirlwind of be a good steward of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could tell myself is steward it well.
Yeah.
Steward it well. Like that became my catchphrase was like steward it well. I will also say it, and this is what I don't say often that nobody really realizes. Do you all remember Blackout Tuesday? It was on Instagram, Blackout Tuesday. Everybody had to post a black square on Tuesday. You didn't have to, but in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, it was like, hey, this is a act of solidarity. I was not a huge fan of Blackout Tuesday. I'll get to that later. But what people don't realize, I dropped Uncomfortable Conversations. Unbeknownst to me, I dropped it on Monday.
Mm.
Blackout Tuesday was the next day.
Mm.
So when nobody was posting, everybody was sharing my video. So Uncomfortable Conversations was more a matter of me just following the lead of my life, and it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because if I don't post that video on Monday, if I post it on Wednesday after Blackout Tuesday, we might not be having this conversation.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was a matter of action, timing, following your heart, following your convictions, following your calling, and trying to steward it well.
Yeah. Dang.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Do you mind going into your opinion on the Blackout Tuesday situation and what your thoughts are behind that?
Well, my opinion for that, it's applicably broad as well, is we need to be more focused on outcomes and optics in life in general. This isn't just for racist dialogue. This isn't just for sexist dialogue. This isn't just for oppressionist dialogue. This isn't just for religious dialogue. It's for all dialogue. And in my mind, we did so many things in 2020 for optics, not necessarily for outcomes.
Yeah.
And posting a black square, what's that doing? You know what I mean? Like now, if you wanted to post resources, books, if you wanted to post organizations you could donate to, if you wanted to post different sort of outlets that you could support, that's one thing. But okay, so on Monday, I'm going to post my bikini picture. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to post my black square. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to post my bikini picture.
Yeah.
On Monday, I'm going to post my GQ outfit. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to post my square. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to post my GQ outfit. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And why are we doing? What is your intention?
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost felt for me, and like I knew so many people that like felt this way. And I just was like, I was trying to figure out myself what the right thing at that moment was to do. And it felt like instead of putting your attention on what is the right thing to do in this moment that will actually make a change, it was worry of what you're going to look like if you don't post it.
Yeah. And
I didn't love that idea. And I know so many people were like, worried if they don't post it, what's going to happen? What judgment are they going to get? And I don't know. That's why I like talking with you about it, because we talked about it that day.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something, but I didn't want to only do something because, of feeling worried, you're feeling like you have to. And then you post that, you did your thing.
Correct.
and then you're done.
Yeah.
You know, that was the thing I was struggling with.
And I think a lot of people struggled with that. That's why I have a lot of freedom in moving and my convictions. I say very freely, I haven't been on one march. I ain't been at one protest. I ain't been at one rally. Because instead of going outside, I went inside. And I always say, like, fight the way you know how.
Yeah.
So many people are trying to figure out, well, how can I be an ally? Well, how can I be a resource? Man, use the skills you've been given to support. My best example of allyship, after the first episode, this is true. This is a true story. This is a very true story. After the first episode of Uncomfortable Conversations, remember, I edited it myself. So I was like, oh, this will sound better with music. Okay, got to find music. I do some quick Googles. Ooh, this is a nice little soundtrack. Post the soundtrack underneath my video. Post it on YouTube. Big red X. I was like, yo, what the heck? Why'd you just X my video? I guess I had stolen music. I didn't realize you could steal it. If I could access it, how's it stealing?
Yeah.
Copywritten. So after the first episode, I got a text from a producer friend of mine, and they were like, hey, can I help you in any way? As a dear white friend of mine. I said, yeah, I need some legal music. They sent me a whole catalog of legitimate music that you can download free online. That's allyship. He used his ability to help support somebody that was fighting for a great cause. So many people think allyship exclusively looks like posting a black square, exclusively looks like protesting, drawing a sign, marching down Melrose in California.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily look like that. It looks like finding a need and filling it.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I feel like I needed that. That was definitely something I actually forgot that how conflicted we were feeling when all of that was happening. Cause I was like, I want to like share resources and share things, but, and you know, I'll post this square because I want to show I support, but like, it just doesn't like, that doesn't feel real to me. Like I want to be an ally to someone for like in an actual way, not just doing my Tuesday square. So
take the tools God has given you.
Yeah.
And, you know, find where in this world you can use those to help.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's allyship, I think, across the board.
Yeah.
And with any group, whether it's supporting women, whether it's supporting people of color, whether it's supporting any minority, that's allyship across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So on the show, I feel like we are constantly learning new things about ourselves. I feel like every episode we talk with a guest and we're like, oh, well, that's a new perspective or that's a new way to look at it. And we always make the joke that, you know,
we're getting free therapy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we've both really benefited from therapy and obviously from the show, but from actual therapy. You know, we've learned a lot about ourselves in that way too. So I'm really excited that we're partnering with BetterHelp for this episode because what they're doing is just absolutely great. If you're thinking about starting therapy, I would 100% recommend giving BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. And I love this because you can literally like see your therapist during your lunch break or like on your drive home from work. You don't have to set aside time when you're off work or on the weekend or whenever it is to do that. They make it so easy for you to talk with someone. Discover your full potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/thesqueeze today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thesqueeze.
Talk about convenience.
Talk about convenience.
Okay, Illogical. How long has it been since Illogical came out now?
Illogical came out March 17th of 2022.
Okay.
Yes. You all were out of town. Otherwise, you all would have been at my book launch housewarming party because you all did get invited.
Oh, yeah.
Because someone was supposed to relay the invite.
Is that person behind the camera right now?
Yeah, Illogical.
I did. We got the book, and I love it. And I was hinting toward this before, but it's one of my favorite chapters in the book. And I also saw a video recently of you talking about it, and it just it hit me over the head like a ton of bricks when you talked about this. And I just could not agree more and can't relate to it anymore. So I was just wondering if you could share a little bit about the Don't Forget Your Earmuffs chapter, talking about the AirPods and the noise cancellation, the filter, and how that can relate to our everyday life.
Yeah. Illogical, my most recent book. I don't know. I don't even like writing, and found myself writing 3 books in a year and a half. Huh. I don't know how that happened.
Goodness gracious.
So, man, everything I write is based upon lived experience. I believe the best books that are written are books that an author has lived. Over the course of life, so many people will tell you what you can't do. So many people will tell you what you can't do. But the problem is there's so much negativity, you don't really know what the heck to gravitate towards. And so I believe it was chapter 2 when I say, don't forget your earmuffs, because the beautiful part in the illustration I use of the Apple AirPod Pros, different from the original version, was that they have a noise cancellation feature. And you have to know when to use a noise cancellation feature to fully block out the noise on the outside, because you can also hit the transparency function and the transparency button, and that allows some noise in, because there is constructive criticism, but then there's also just criticism. And I believe that, and I've said this before, that I think criticism is kind of like drinking salt water. When people criticize you, it's like salt water, because the thing about salt water, if you look it up, is the body gets so dehydrated from the salt that you'll die from the salt prior to the water actually nourishing you. And the problem with criticism on this day and age, whether it's social media, Instagram, Twitter, etc., people criticize you so much that you will emotionally perish from the criticism before the construction can ever add value.
Yep.
Wow.
And so that's why I said, don't forget your earmuffs, because in life, you better know when to turn on them noise canceling.
Yeah.
That noise canceling feature, figuratively speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hit me over the head like a ton of bricks, because well, I've said that phrase twice now. My gosh.
Love bricks.
I've literally never said that saying.
You should have said a bag of lemons, I feel like.
There we go. All right. It hit me over the head like a bag of lemons, because that is definitely something that I struggled with in this industry and growing up. And if I'm being completely honest, I think it held me back. And that is, I am all for, learning from your mistakes, and there's always room to grow, and, not always just looking at the positive, but, like you said, the transparency, way where you can hear some, but when I was younger and I put so much pressure on myself, like when I was headlining a film or something, and reviews would come out, or, comments would come out, I definitely took in way too much criticism. And I thought it was going to further me. I thought it was going to strengthen me. I thought I was going to learn from it and go on to the next project and be better because of it. But I read so many terrible reviews. I read so many, negative comments, that I really think it messed with my head. Mm-hmm. And it honestly, it tore away my confidence. And I didn't know where to go from there. I don't think I was brave moving forward with the choices I was making, because I was so scared. I was living in fear that the next thing I do is going to get the same kind of reviews. It's going to get the same, comments from everyone. And I think that had a major impact on my career, my life. And it's taken a while to, figure out, to recover from that and figure out the place that I want my mind to be in when I do work, when I do something, and putting the value in the right place. So that's for me why, when hearing that chapter and you speak on that, it meant a lot for me, and it gave me a really, really fantastic insight moving forward with my life.
One, thank you for sharing that. I think that's a good word. We're all struggling with the influx of feedback.
Yes.
Feedback is very necessary in life, and we all crave feedback, but we have now this insatiable desire to know. Did this picture get more likes than the last? Did this post get more retweets than the other?
Yeah.
Did this TikTok get more shares than the last? Like our craving for feedback has become this beast that we quite literally can't satiate the appetite of.
Yeah.
And I think it's led all of us, myself included, to healthy places. Dude, I've gotten to a point now on TikTok, the second I read on Twitter, the second I read a negative word about me, I just block. Like if I see a sentence is going in a direction from Jim Bob 89711 blah, I won't finish the sentence because I don't even want to read it. Because once I've read it, I've internalized it and I've digested it, and it's become a part of my day.
Yeah.
So the second I even read, like, you sound like nope, blah.
Oh.
Because I, like you, have even as recently as today wrestled with like, wait, this isn't real. This is like, social media's not real. Someone else's criticism of it's just not real. Put your phone down, get back into reality, talk to the people across from you like we're having this conversation now. So I struggle with that now more than ever.
Yeah.
It's I've gotten to the point where I just don't even, I'm so far the opposite. I don't even look at the comments. I don't even of our friends. I just don't even look. Like sometimes
I'll literally be like, did you see what this person said? She never even looks on comments. She posts it and she's like,
post and goes.
That's
It's funny because when we posted this, we were getting feedback. And so I did look at when we posted it, and some people were like, this is great. I know you're never going to see this comment, but I love the show. And I'm like, well, I guess I got my point across there. But yeah, that's definitely something that our brains aren't made to have that much. I mean, even just social media in general, have that much constant
stimulus.
Yep. They're not made for that. So that on top of criticism and comparison and all that stuff, it's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, we need healthy social media like Lemons by Tay and Emmanuel Acho.
Put on your earmuffs.
Put on those earmuffs. So basically, you just are constantly someone that people go to for advice, for information, for wisdom, for everything and anything. You're constantly pouring into others. And that is very similar to a lot of our friends that we have. They are constantly pouring into others, constantly giving, constantly just giving themselves and their information and their mind and their thoughts and their soul to people and helping others.
And on top of that, you're doing that, online and on TV, for people you don't know. Then on top of that, I am sure, I will make the assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, that in your personal life, you are also that to so many close friends. And this one just hits hard for me because a couple very close friends in my life, I don't want to say worry for, but I do sometimes because I know that they are that person for so many people. And they're that person for me. But I know I'm not the only one. I know that they are the person that people go to when they are happy, when they're sad, when they need advice, whatever it is. And it doesn't matter how, close those people are to you and how much you love them. It still is exhausting, and it still can suck it out of you. And it is so important to find whatever it is to recharge. Because I feel like if you don't recharge, then you're not going to be able to be there, strongly for those people. So I can only imagine, on top of the people in my life that I, can attribute this to, you also do that for a living. So how do you recharge? How do you not let it just suck everything out of you?
That's a good question. It is exhausting. And I always said, particularly during 20 and 2021, when we were just on the heels of so much chaos in society, I said it was a worthy exhaustion because I was exhausted. I knew nothing else besides being tired. It got to the point where I had burst the blood vessel in my vocal cords because I was talking so much.
Whoa.
I mean, I couldn't speak for a week leading up to one of the biggest conversations of my life. I was going to talk to the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell, for one of my episodes, and my doctor put me on complete voice rest. Hey, you're not allowed to talk. So I would just text people back and whatnot. I would say it's a worthy exhaustion. How do I recharge? I try to find pockets. Thankfully, I'm like a introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert where I regain my energy from people, conversations like this, hanging with y'all after, grabbing a bite, whatever the case may be. That's how I find my energy. Small groups, getting together with people I love. Thankfully, I don't need to just sit in isolation to recharge. And I also love being able to hang out with people who need nothing from me.
Yes.
Because so often, and it's not even their fault that they need something from you, but society might need something from you. But the sports show might need something from me. My producers might need something from me. My family. But being able to hang out with people is just like, you don't need anything?
Yeah.
Because I've gotten to the point now where people call me and my instant response is like, hey, you just want to talk? You need something. Because if you need something, let's make this quick and transactional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's not spend 5 minutes on the let's cut to the chase. So I'm not tripping. What do you need?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can help you with what you need. Then let me get back to my free time. But just being able to spend time with people who don't need anything. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
I relate to that so much. That's I've learned that big group settings, I'm drained so fast. Our friends are having a party and I literally left after an hour. I left Taylor there. I was like, I'm going to go home and go to bed. I have no FOMO. There's nothing. I was like, I just need to leave. And
you love these people.
Yeah.
Everyone there.
I was at their home. I was like, I need to leave. There's a lot of people here. I'm tired. But in small group settings, I'm it fuels me. That's what I love. Or one-on-one with someone that is close to me that doesn't need anything from me, that I can just relax and talk to, or even sometimes not even speak to. That part. You can just share space with. Yes.
The hard part of certain conversation, I'm sure listeners can attest to this. Some people won't just relish in the silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
We ain't always got to talk. You ain't always got to fill space.
Yeah.
Let's just be. And finding people who won't judge you if you're just going to be you.
Yeah.
Can I just come sit on your couch?
Yeah.
Can I just come eat your food? We ain't got to talk. Let's just share space.
Yeah.
And just be in life together.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the last friend. This sounds weird. The last friend I made. I don't make friends often, but she was over here and we literally didn't speak for an hour. We were both doing work and just hanging on the couch. And I was like, I love her already.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah. We were talking before this. You're asking me why I do this, and a big reason why I started this was because I lost a friend to suicide. And I know that you have lost some people in your life to suicide as well. And I wanted to know what is something that you've learned from that, and if there's any advice that you can share from what you've learned going through that with our listeners.
That's a heavy question. That's a good question. Geez. What did I would say, I've learned a lot. Buckle up, listeners, because I may word vomit. I would say maybe the imminent thought in my head right now is you don't know when your last moment will be with someone. So try to make sure that last moment is as valuable, as impactful, as loving, as joyful, as peaceful as possible, regardless of when it is. I would say tell the people that you love them. I grew up in a Nigerian household, and my parents, I knew they loved me because of what they did, but you don't overly verbalize, I love you.
Yeah.
I don't leave my mom and dad's presence now without like saying, I love you. I overuse, I love you.
Yeah.
Now I don't overuse it in the sense of not meaning it, but somebody that I love, I will make sure they know it. You can still be a person of faith and struggle with mental health. I think I've learned that. I've also learned more people are struggling than you realize.
Yeah.
I loved one of my favorite artists, Kirk Franklin, he said, bother people today. Check in on them so much that you bother them.
Yeah.
Wow. He said that, and that really stuck with me. I've also learned the people that seem the happiest might be struggling the most. So check in on your happy friends.
Yeah.
Check in on your perfect friends. Check in on your got it all together friends. I've also learned grief. It follows no natural trajectory.
Yeah.
There is no order for grief, and you don't know when grief will strike. I've also learned that your tragic and tragedy story, it's a part of the fiber of your new being. So just embrace it. You will not be the same person after you experience that loss, and you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I've also learned that time doesn't make you forget. It makes it easier to remember.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm learning every day. And I'm not going to cry on this podcast. That's what I'm not going to do. But I've learned a lot. And life is hard. Life is very, very, very hard. And find people you can do life with who help make the difficult easier because it's difficult.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Wow.
For sharing. I'm sure. I mean, it's moving for me, and I, haven't lost somebody close to me like that. But, I know Tay was sharing with you beforehand. That's her friend Jared is kind of really what really started this whole idea.
There's a photo of him on my desk over there.
Yeah, he's right over there.
Well, these combos, they need to be had.
Yeah.
They need to be had. I think conversations of mental health need to be had. Conversations of death by suicide, they need to be had. I mean, the rates have increased exponentially. And you know what else I've thought is we are the suicide hotline.
Wow. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
It's not a number that you can call. It is the clerk at the grocery store. It is the pedestrian crossing the street. It is the neighboring car at the stoplight. It is the grocer at checkout. It is you listening. It is me speaking. We are the suicide hotline.
Yeah.
Do not be dependent upon somebody on the opposite end of a phone. You are someone's escape. That smile could keep someone holding on. That one compliment, that speaking of life into someone that you don't even know, who you just ran across, who you just felt a calling to say hey, You're valuable. You're worthy. I'll end this thought. My brother, my older brother, he played 9 years in the National Football League. I love him to death. If you ask him, like, hey, what's the most important thing you've ever heard? He said he was talking to his mentor, and his mentor was about to die. Mentor may have been 80 or so years old. He was about to die, and he asked his mentor, he said, wait, like, if you're going to go, then leave me with a piece of information. Like, leave me with something. Just leave me with something. And he said, his mentor told him, my brother's name is Sam. He said, Sam, you are worth getting to know. And I love saying that to people because it's so simple but powerful. Like, Tay, you are worth getting to know. Taylor, you are worth getting to know. Listener, you are worth getting to know, because so many of us in life question our worth, question our value. But like, no, you are worth the time, the energy, the effort, the bandwidth it will take to get to know. And that's just always stuck with me, because I believe if more people realize their worth, then they wouldn't struggle as much with their value.
Yeah. Yeah. That goes hand in hand with something that I honestly may have heard it from you now that we're speaking it, but we find our value where we put value. Like that. The first time I heard that, I was like, wow, that's so true. And we equate that like so much to whatever it is in life, someone's opinion, something on social media, someone, like the things that we can't control, we can't put value in that. Like we need to put the value in the things that we can control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has had the most positive impact on your mental health?
That's a good question. I'm not going to say God or Jesus because that's cheating. I don't like speaking Christianese. So I will say one of my best friends, his name is Cheaty. And he's just light comedian, just all things funny. Incredibly positive impact. And then, yeah, I'd probably say him, a friend that can just make you laugh. Yeah. Humor, laughter is an incredible form of therapy.
Yeah.
An incredible form of therapy. Like, seek to laugh. Find somebody that'll make you smile, even when you're hurting. Because I've gone through some dark, dark days in the last 14 months. And like somebody who, even in the midst of tragedy, can make you laugh. Man, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it, because my mental health it's been tried in these last 14 months. Due to tragedies that we've spoken of. And by the grace of God, I've come on the other side of that on top. Oh, man. Mental health, that's a conversation now. It's a conversation.
Yeah. We love mental health conversation.
We love the conversation.
Last question I have for you is, if you can go back to one moment in your life, what moment would that be, and what would you say to yourself?
Okay, I got a question for you. Why? What am I going back to that moment for?
It could be anything. It could be something you want to redo. It could be something that was a hard time. It could be
something you want to, if you could give yourself advice.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I would probably, I don't know if this would be the one, but like I would go back in time and tell myself at like the height of, fame in my career to put value in the right things, because I think I was putting them in the wrong things. And that is what put me down a course that I really could have avoided a lot of pain, a lot of wasted time and energy. And I, could have skipped a chapter in my life that, not taking it back, I think it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do I want to go back and tell myself that? I don't know. But I would, just loved to have known during that time in my life that those things are important.
I would go back to the first episode of Uncomfortable Conversations when I'm sitting in a room and I couldn't eat. And it was me and 4 other people. And I would just say, this is going to change your life. Get ready.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
I would just tell myself like, hey, these next words that you will speak will change the trajectory of your life. Prepare yourself.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you, Taylor, in that if you would have changed anything, it would have changed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't change anything, but I would just say like, hey, get ready.
Yeah.
Because it's the flood is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much. We both and so many others just respect you and just cherish you in everything you do. And just
and thankful for people like you doing the hard work.
Yeah. And so beyond honored to call you a friend and have you in our lives. So thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for being here today.
Of course, man. This was good. This was therapeutic.
Yeah.
This was therapeutic for me, hopefully for y'all, and obviously for those watching and listening. Like, these conversations are invaluable.
Yeah. Amen to that.
All right, let's go get a nap.
Thank you so much, everyone, for squeezing us into your busy schedules.
Make sure to follow my lovely wife at Tay Lautner, myself at Taylor Lautner, the podcast at The Squeeze, Lemons by Tay at Lemons by Tay for some wonderful mental health tips, tricks, and tools.
Heck yeah. You can also email us at lautner.thesqueezepodcast@gmail.com. If you guys have any questions, guest recommendations, stories, we've been loving everything that you guys have been sharing. But most importantly, please continue to share your journey with us and with those around you, and send our show to a friend that you think could use a little extra squeeze in their life. And if you're going to send them any episode,
this is a pretty dang good one.
This is a good one.
We love you all. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeehaw.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.